Hi, I'm Breanna Jackson, and I'm the director of the Noble County Bowen Center.
I'm Jessica Smith, and I am the clinical lead of the Noble County Bowen Center.
We're going to talk to you about coping with the stressors of the novel coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. Our objectives today are to help you understand the signs of depression and anxiety, as well as ways to cope, teach you some healthy ways to deal with COVID-19, and to provide additional resources and supports.
So one of the things that I'd like for us to talk about today is signs of depression. Depression is more than just being sad. Signs of depression include fatigue, loss of motivation, sadness or irritability, lack of interest in activities you once enjoyed, hopelessness, trouble with sleep or maybe sleeping too much. It's more than just tired. It feels like you're stuck or kind of trapped in molasses. Being depressed feels like you don't really want to do anything, even though you have things that you used to enjoy. Another thing that comes with depression is a sense of hopelessness. So sometimes that can come along as well with recurrent thoughts of death. And if that is happening, or you know someone that is having suicidal thoughts, please reach out for help immediately. Call 911, go to the ER, have someone take you to the ER, call any of these numbers listed, go to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline website. There are also resources listed at the end of this PowerPoint. Some of the things that you can do to help cope with depression or symptoms of depression: go outside, get some sunshine, some fresh air. Even 5 minutes a day will make over time a tremendous change, a significant amount of, it's very helpful. There's studies out there, scientific studies that say that even going out for 5 minutes will improve your symptoms of depression. Get moving, do some exercises, even if it's just stretching. Exercise releases endorphins that make us feel happy. Write down what your thoughts and your feelings are. Get them out of your head, get them out of your body, and put them down on a piece of paper. Make sure that you're staying connected with those that you love, those that you trust. Oftentimes when we start to experience symptoms of depression, we're inclined to isolate. Another thing that you can do is just normal hygiene things. Shower, brush your teeth, brush your hair, put on clean clothes. Sometimes when we're depressed, on top of isolation, on top of lack of motivation, maybe you don't want to get out of bed all day. If you do some of these things, they will definitely help. Eat something healthy. Like with releasing endorphins, putting something healthy in your body is going to make a difference. When we're depressed, a lot of times we are drawn to eat things that maybe aren't so healthy for us. Junk food, chocolate, which is good for you, but only in limits. Combat negative thoughts with positive thoughts. And that may sound easier said than done, but with practice, it can really help reduce symptoms of depression. We tend to start to talk negatively to ourselves about ourselves. And if we can catch those as they're happening and replace them with something more positive, it's really going to help reduce those symptoms. If your symptoms of depression are affecting your work, your relationships with your friends, your family, if they're affecting your health, please reach out for help. Please talk to a professional. Another thing that we want to talk about today is anxiety. This is something that can come with COVID-19. This is something that can come with just daily life stressors. So some of the signs of anxiety are worrying excessively. It's hard to shut your brain off, and so you're having racing thoughts, for example. You're restless, irritable, edgy. It's hard to sleep because maybe you can't shut off your brain and relax. It's hard to just sit down and enjoy something because your mind is racing. Some of the things that you can do to cope with anxiety, mindful eating. One of the themes with anxiety is this go, go, go. And if you're go, go, go all the time, it's more than likely that you're just kind of putting things in your mouth without thinking about what you're putting into your body. So if you can slow down and really enjoy the flavors and the textures and think about what it is that you're eating, that can be really helpful. Deep breathing. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. There's different techniques for deep breathing. A little bit of meditation goes a long way. Just taking a few minutes in the morning or the evening, or even just taking a break throughout the day and sitting in a quiet space with your thoughts without focusing on them, just kind of letting them go through your mind and go out. Lots of things out there on that as well. A little bit of Googling can pull up lots of different resources for meditating. Another exercise that you can use is to notice 5 things. So you can look at 5 things you can see. I like to do things like counting. So count 5 different things you can see, 5 different blue things, 5 different square things. What are 5 things you can smell? Lots of different ways that you can kind of distract yourself from your own thoughts. Along with coping with depression, you also want to stay connected with someone you love and you trust. Anxiety can also make you feel isolated. So staying in touch with people that you love and trust is really important. Fun fact, the study is attached to this, or the link to the study. Citrus smells are shown to reduce stress and nervous tension. So oranges, grapefruit, lemons, limes, things like that actually create a chemical change in the brain that reduces stress. Other grounding exercises. Sometimes when we're anxious, we kind of start to feel like we're floating off into space because we don't have a sense of control about what's going on around us or inside us. So really thinking about, okay, I'm sitting here with my feet on the floor. I feel like my back is tense. Just really getting in touch with how you're physically feeling can also help distract you and help you cope with those symptoms of anxiety. Like with anything else, if symptoms of anxiety are interfering with your ability to function at work, in your relationships with your family or friends, if they're affecting your health, please reach out to a professional. Please get help and talk to someone. I mentioned earlier about COVID-19 can be one of the things that trigger these things. But there's other life events that can trigger depression and anxiety. The loss of a loved one, whether they pass away, whether they move far away, separation or divorce. So a major change in your relationship, a car accident, an injury, the onset of major medical problems or worsening of medical problems, achieving a major goal, which that can sound kind of strange. That's really supposed to be a positive event, right? But when we sometimes achieve our major goals in life, it might leave you with a sense of, okay, well, now what? Which can trigger depression or anxiety, especially if it's a role that means more responsibilities. Think about all the anxiety that comes with a promotion. Oh, well, now I have to do this, this, and this on top of what I used to do, or completely different than what I used to do. Having a new family member, having a baby, a new baby, maybe your brother or your sister has a baby. That can change family dynamics, that can create different symptoms of anxiety or even depression. The loss of the way that relationship maybe used to be, and the fact that it's now going to be a lot different. We talked a little bit about career change, but there's lots of different things that can trigger depression and anxiety in a person, whether they're positive or negative. But like we talked about earlier, there are different ways that we can cope with those things.
Thanks, Jessica. Next, we're going to show you a video that will hopefully put some context through to the things that Jessica shared related to depression and anxiety. It's called Face COVID.
When we face a crisis of any sort, fear and anxiety are inevitable. They are normal natural responses to any challenging situation infused with danger and uncertainty. Face COVID is a set of practical steps for dealing with such situations. F is for focus on what's in your control. You can't control what happens in the future. You can't control coronavirus itself or the world economy or what other people do, and you can't magically control your thoughts and feelings. Fear, anxiety, and worry are inevitable, but you can control what you do here and now, so let's focus on that. A is for acknowledge your thoughts and feelings. Silently and kindly acknowledge whatever is showing up inside you, thoughts, feelings, emotions, memories, sensations, urges. With curiosity, notice what's going on in your inner world. You might say to yourself, I am noticing feelings of anxiety, or I'm having thoughts about getting sick, or I'm having feelings of loneliness. And as you continue acknowledging your thoughts and feelings, bring in the next step, which is C, come back into your body. Find your own way of connecting with your physical body. For example, you might try slowly pressing your feet hard into the floor, or slowly pressing your fingertips together, slowly stretching your arms or your neck, or shrugging your shoulders, or slowly breathing. And as you acknowledge your thoughts and feelings and come back into your body, you then move to E, which is for engage in what you're doing. Get a sense of where you are here and now and refocus your attention on the activity at hand. Notice 5 things you can see, 5 things you can hear. Notice what you can touch and taste and smell. Notice what you are doing and give your full attention to that activity. And then C is for committed action. This means effective action guided by your core values. Action you take because it's important to you, even if it brings up difficult thoughts and feelings. Of course, this includes following official guidelines on what to do during this crisis. But in addition, ask yourself regularly, what can I do right now, no matter how small it may be, that improves life for myself or others I live with or people in my community? And whatever the answer is, do it and engage in it fully. O is for opening up. This means making room for difficult feelings and being kind to yourself. As this crisis unfolds, we'll all feel fear, anxiety, anger, sadness, guilt, loneliness, and so on. We can't stop these painful feelings from arising, but we can open up and make room for them. Acknowledge they are normal, allow them to be there even though they hurt, and treat ourselves kindly. Consider what are kind words you can say to yourself and kind things you can do for yourself to help you cope with this suffering. V is for values. Committed action should be guided by your core values. What do you want to stand for in the face of this crisis? What sort of person do you want to be as you go through this? How do you want to treat yourself and others? Your values might include love, respect, humor, patience, courage, honesty, caring, openness, kindness, compassion, or numerous others. Look for ways to sprinkle your values into your day and let them guide and motivate your actions. I is for identify resources. Identify resources for help, assistance, support, and advice. This includes friends, family, neighbors, health professionals, and emergency services. Make sure you know the emergency helpline phone numbers, including those for psychological help if required. D is for disinfect and distance. Remember to disinfect regularly and practice physical distancing for the greater good of your community. Please run through the steps of Face COVID as often as you can for the benefit of yourself, your loved ones, and all the people in your community.
I hope this video put the information we provided into some context for you. When I watched this video the first time, I watched it with my daughter, and it was right after the shelter in place in Indiana. And it created some anxiety for both of us because we were unsure. We had never had this experience before. Schools had just closed, and it was a little scary. But after watching this video, it helped us to realize that our feelings about COVID-19 were normal. And that it was okay to be nervous. It was okay to be a little anxious about it, but it also gave us some good ways to be able to talk about it and to cope well with it. And, you know, here we are a few months later, and we're doing very well. Jessica, did you have anything you wanted to add regarding the Face COVID video?
I just think it's great that it helps provide an opportunity for more of an open discussion about it, and that it also gave some suggestions on how to cope with some of the emotional things that come with what we're all going through right now.
Definitely. So for most of us, social distancing has become a commonly used phrase in our lives. It's also called physical distancing, which means keeping space between yourself and other people outside your home. In order to practice social distancing, you need to stay at least 6 feet apart, and that's about 2 arm lengths from other people. Do not gather in groups. Stay out of crowded places and avoid mass gatherings. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and don't touch your face. Some other helpful ideas to help you cope with COVID-19 are to take care of your body. Jessica mentioned this earlier. Hygiene is important, but also eating healthy. So drinking water, eating a balanced diet, moving and exercising, being active really does help. And knowing that you're taking care of yourself, it also gives you something else to focus on besides what's happening with COVID-19. Connecting with others is very important. We mentioned that earlier in the presentation. Calling your family members and your friends, video chatting. I think all of us are probably pretty well versed in the world of video chat these days. To be honest, it's not something that I personally did a lot of before COVID-19, but in some aspects, I feel like I'm an expert today. Emailing your loved ones and, you know, taking it old school and writing a letter to your loved ones is another way that you can connect with them. Take a break. Do something that you enjoy. If you like to watch TV, watch your favorite movie or TV show. Go for a walk. Pamper yourself. Maybe give yourself a manicure and pedicure. You can read something that you enjoy reading, or just rest. You know, maybe take a nap and, you know, catch up on some sleep. Also stay informed. It's important to seek trusted news sources. And at the end of this, we will provide some additional resources for you to take a look at. But the CDC is a great resource, and the State Department of Health, that website is another trusted resource so that you can count on getting accurate information and updates on COVID-19. And, you know, avoid news and social media overexposure. Sometimes too much of a good thing can be harmful. That is something I personally noticed. I was watching too much about COVID very early on, and that added to my anxiety. So I made the decision to limit to once a day. watching or reading something about COVID-19. Jessica, you noticed that you operated a little differently as it related to overexposure to like news and social media surrounding COVID-19?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's something I was just thinking. I mean, to keep a balance between staying informed and not overexposing yourself through the, social media and watching too much news or checking too many news stories. I noticed early on, I was doing the same thing. I was checking the state website on the count throughout the entire day, off and on, just checking to see if they had changed anything. I was checking the news multiple times a day, and I noticed how much more anxiety I had about COVID-19. And once I realized that it was creating unnecessary stress in myself and within my family, I decided, you know what, we're going to put a limit on this because it's really not doing me any good to stress about something that's outside of my control.
Absolutely. Same here. I completely agree with you. So with all of these ideas and the things we talked about, what it comes down to is identifying where you are and doing what's best for you. What are the things that are going to help you best cope with COVID-19? And it'll look different, for each and every one of us, but these are just some helpful tips that, can help you process and think about what those might look like. So as promised, here are some additional resources that and websites and phone numbers you can call to gather more information about COVID-19. There's some information on and some resources to help you get connected if you do need someone to talk to, or if you need some additional support. At the bottom is the number to the Bowen Center. If you find that the resources that we provided to you just aren't quite enough, or if you know someone who might be struggling with coping with COVID-19 or anything else for that matter, please reach out. That phone number is 1-800-342-5653. Just let them know that you need our support, and we will get an assessment scheduled, and we will be proud to serve you. I just want to thank you for your time today and allowing us to just come and chat with you a bit about COVID-19, give you some information on depression and anxiety and ways to cope with that, but then also how to cope with COVID-19 specifically. Jessica, did you have anything to add?
I just wanted to thank everyone for their time. Again, if there's anything that we can do to help, if that means additional support or perhaps linking you to additional resources, just give us a call.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.